Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. It's Jordan here. Today we're going to continue working on the Lego City. Are we going to work on something other than these bridges? Maybe sometime in the future, but I've decided that I'm going to modify these bridges yet again. Oh my gosh, we're going to increase the width so it's even wider. Wider arches, I tell ya. We're going to decrease the grade of the road. We're also going to decrease the grade of the train track. And that grade is actually going to start back there on these straight tracks by the helicopter there. And we're also going to make some modifications to the curve to accommodate the increase in the grade of the train track that starts back there. I hope this is the last time I have to do this. In fact, I'm pretty sure it will be the last time I do this, but I'm happy with it. But the thing with Lego is things can always be done differently and they can always be improved. And I do want this to look like really good before we continue working on other things. Even though I do think it looks good right now, I think it can be a little bit better. So we're going to make some modifications to this area yet again. So here's what I'm thinking for arch width. There's the old one, which was 14 studs wide from arch to arch, 12 studs of water. I'm adding 4 studs of water, 16 studs of water total. The arch width would be 18 studs. I think that's wide enough. Or should I go wider? I wish I could ask you now. I don't know. I think that's wide enough. That's a half base plate of width. That's quite a bit, right? I think that's fine because the plan is to have the canal a maximum of 16 studs wide. And it's going to vary. It'll be like 16, 14, 12. So if this entrance is 16 studs, which matches the max width of the canal, then that makes sense because there will likely be 8 studs of sidewalk or sidewalk guardrail festivities on either side, leaving 16 studs of blue water in the center. So I think having this at 16 studs makes sense. All right, so that's all fixed up now. Now I've just got to increase the length of this bendable bridge here so that it can reach between the 2 points. Probably got to extend this by, I don't know, 4 studs? Yeah, 4 studs might work. Take care of that in a bit. I decided to remove the train track here, exposing the colorful bricks that support the train track, topped with tiles there. So now I've just got to widen this arch and also the water. I'm going to have to rip apart these little Mills plates right there just to make those changes. Thankfully, I made this stuff somewhat modular. So for example, if I remove this, I can pop this wall out. It's actually not attached to the whole wall, so I can just remove that very easily. And thanking myself for that because otherwise I'd have to peel that whole wall apart. And for the most part, all of this work can be salvaged. Before we continue with this video, let's check out this insane mystery box of Lego. I also wanted to let you know about my next Whatnot stream, which is taking place on Saturday, June 22nd, starting at 12 o'clock Mountain Time. I'm going to be giving away the Ultimate Collector Series R2-D2, and I'll also be auctioning off all of the stuff found within this box. If you want a giveaway, I cover the international shipping affiliated, and giveaways, of course, are free to enter. And check out all these figures that I'll be auctioning off. It is insane. There are so many vintage knights in here. There's horses, dragons, there's some Star Wars, just such a great mix of everything. If you're not on Whatnot, you can join using my affiliate link, and when you join using that link, you're going to get a $15 credit, which can be redeemed on your first purchase. All the information is down below in the pinned comment and description. I hope to see you there. It's going to be a wild auction and a pretty sweet giveaway. There's the new bridge installed, and technically you can make this thing as long as you want. Like if I wanted to extend it out to here to decrease the angle, I could do that just because it just moves very easily. I think that angle works, and there's the train bridge arch all widened up as well. So now we've got 16 studs of water there. I think that works pretty good. And the road plate has been removed, and we're starting to decrease the grade of the slanted road by adding another 16 studs. And there's the new arch installed right there. And this will just have to be completely reworked because the sidewalk is going to have to match the grade of the road. So It'll have to be reworked, but it shouldn't be too bad. And you know what? I think I'm going to stand by what I said in the previous video. I don't think I'm going to change the grade of the train track. In order to do that, I would have to start it around the corner here, and I just don't think that would look that good, because this is like a human-made bridge right here with the dark bluish gray on either side. Whereas if I start it back here, then that would have to be like more like a natural thing. So I'd have to like put green brick on either side, and I just think it makes more sense to have it all happen out front here. I just think it would look awkward, especially because it'd be a little bit difficult to do it on this side. And I sort of like it when things match. And right now the train grade on either side matches. So I think I'm going to keep that as it is and just work on widening these arches. However, with that said, I am working on increasing the grade of the road. Actually, well, Simon's doing that while I took care of this. Pretty beauty when you got two people on the job, it just goes a lot quicker. The road plate had to be completely reworked because it used to be 2 base plates and now it's 3 base plates. Rather than adding a half base plate on this side and a half base plate on that side, we decided to make it 3 base plates long, so everything had to be transferred from the 2 base plate road to the 3 base plate road. So now the grade on either side is 2 of the 16 by 16 road plates and 1 of the 8 by 16 road plates, making the grade 40 studs, and then we've got 16 by 16 on top. Now, because it's at that angle, it creates a little bit of a gap. Before, it was a perfect stud, so I had a stud on this side and a stud on this side, making the top 18 studs. But because the length of it has been increased and the grade of it has been decreased, that gap became smaller. So it used to be 2 studs and now it's like 1.5 studs. How do you fill in that gap perfectly? Well, we did that a little bit up top here and also a little bit on the bottom on each side. And we actually did that with those modified plates that have like the upright part that's like not even half a stud. It's just like a little sliver. And you can see the ones on the bottom here are actually holding a tile. So it's wedged between that part and the road. And then up top here, we decided to use more of those pieces. However, I didn't have enough in my inventory, so we couldn't stretch it all the way across, but you can see how it just fills in that gap there. So it's right there, but not in the center. Eventually, I'll have to get more so that we can continue that all the way across and we can fill that gap. But you can sort of visualize what it's going to look like when it is complete. And then, of course, on this side, we had to do the same thing as well. Now, what I call the road extenders, that's these pieces right here, those also had to be extended that little tiny bit, not quite a full stud. I can't just add an additional stud to that because it just didn't work. So what we did was actually put a bracket and a tile on the end of the stud. The issue is you can't do that on this side because if you were to use a bracket, well, then it would have like a little gap. So we decided to wedge a plate and a tile in there. And it works for the road extender part, but it didn't work for this because the road extenders have a little bit of give. So you can see this can be taken out. It's just laying there, really. So I can remove that. And then the bicycle lane part, if I remove this tile, which is just going to be sit there loosely, wedged between the 2 plates. This can also be removed like that. And you can see how that hinges. Now, technically, you could build the entire road like this. You don't have to use the road plates. You could brick build the entire thing. That would be pretty cool. I am running out of dark bluish gray bricks. I don't use brick-built roads in the city. I may as well keep it consistent with the use of the road plates. And these road plates are just sitting here. So you can see if I remove this, there's the slanted part. There's the parts on the bottom that are filling that gap. Literally just tiles wedged between those pieces. And then up top here, we just have 2 of those pieces. And you can see some brickwork there that's actually supporting the 16 by 16. And then there's a brace in the center. And of course, it's the same on this side. So pretty simplistic. That looks pretty funny when you take it apart. Let's It's literally just chilling there, let gravity do the work for us, or letting gravity do the work for us. And I actually decided to, let's move this tile, to take out one of the 2x4 tiles right here and replace it with a 1x4 or 1x2 and also a Chi-slope, so I can position a vehicle, just hold it in place. So that's a nice little detail. And on this side, you can see the brickwork for the sidewalk. And of course, it's all light gray on this side. And that is nicely capped off with the masonry bricks, slopes, and tiles. However, I didn't have enough tiles to do it on both sides, and I didn't have enough of the slopes to do it on this side either. So it's inconsistencies there, but eventually when I get the right pieces, I can very easily fix that. And then on this side, it's the bicycle lane. So we put the Chi-slopes like that to say, hey, humans, you're not allowed walking here. Don't walk here. This is dangerous. Please don't walk there. And then when I get more of the 1x2 trans blue tiles, it's going to be very easy for me to take apart so that I can actually detail the water with those trans blue tiles. So there's the road plate all deconstructed, and there it is reconstructed. Now there's a couple things that could probably be improved. The missing pieces, well, they could be very easily ordered and put on there so it's complete. Also, these could be swapped up. I just don't have any dark gray hinges right now. I guess technically I could switch it for the plate ones in white and just use the plates, but I think the bricks just add more support. And also I could probably play around with a 1x1 modified brick with the forward-facing stud, or what I like to call a snot brick, and put it somewhere in here so that doesn't happen. And I could just like mount this to the end of it, but you'd have to get the spacing right so that it actually sits in there. So you'd have to mess around with some plates and some bricks. And for what it's worth, I don't think it's the end of the world that this just sits there sandwiched between the two plates. When it's moved in the city, this road plate isn't really going to move that much. So I really don't think it's a big deal. Another improvement that could probably be made, but it would be sort of a waste of parts in my eyes, is to go through and replace all these colorful bricks with light or dark gray, or just build a wall in front of them so you can't see them when you peer through. But when it's placed in the city with all of those other bridges, you're not really going to see that. So I could make that modification, but I just foresee that being a waste of parts. And it's a little Lego Easter egg. You know, a lot of Lego builds, they use colorful parts in the interior, and hey, so do mine. So there you go. You got some colorful bricks under the modified road plate there. Pretty cool road plate. Have fun building roads. It's cool just building different ones in different styles, and this bridge is going to look pretty spiffy when it's placed here in the city. And despite it being quite large, like 3 base plates, it's pretty strong too. So I can just pick it up and move it, which is good. The only parts that are going to fall off are those ones that aren't tacked in place in the bicycle lane, but I can just slide it in place here in the city, hopefully. Oh, these tiles, I forgot to remove those. There we go. And just put those down, and then just make sure these are all aligned and should be good to go. Just like that, installed in the city. This guy's just admiring all of his hard masonry work. He's been building all day. He's like, oh yeah, look at that train track. It looks pretty slick. So does that arched bridge. Decided to place a minifigure on there just so we can see the angle of the bridge. It's not as aggressive. I think it works out quite nicely. And I could extend it to reduce that angle, but I don't think that's too bad right there. I love the road plate. I think that looks fantastic. And I love this perspective here as well. We can look through the bridges and then the train will pass over. Yeah, so we got the 3 bridges modified and upgraded for what I think will be the last time. Well, probably not the last time ever, but at least for now, because I want to move on to other things in the city. I still got to think about like this grade increase and doing it back here. I still haven't decided if I want to do that yet. I think this is better as the human-made bridge, and I don't think it should start going up over here. It would be easy to do, and it would be cool to integrate this rock work underneath the curve and blend it in with maybe green bricks over here, but I think this is good for now. The train doesn't really struggle going over that, and I like how it matches on either side. I love how I position this vehicle here. I think that's super cool, and we'll definitely have to position some more vehicles on the bridge, and some more minifigures all over the place as well. But there we go. Now I feel comfortable moving on to different things. Some smaller boats can fit under here, not massive boats by no means, but I think this is just the right scale for the canal that I want to build running throughout the downtown core. The other day I went to the Lego store. I bought a bunch of 4x4 green plates so I can transition into doing other things now, such as mills plating all of these plates over here in the residential area. Definitely need to do that, embed all of those train tracks. And then I can also work on more of the green space over here behind the diner, get that train track embedded, and also start working on some of the green plates over here, and then eventually transition into more rock work, and also have a bunch of black plate so I can start working on some of the water detail in the harbor as well. So I'm pretty excited to move on to the next project. We spent so long coming up with the layout of the downtown core, and then working on the roads. That was huge. The train track, and now these details. And I can also now move on to the canal and also the elevation that I want to do with these modular buildings making their way back to the town hall there. I'm really excited about that. So sort of want to move on to other things. I think getting some elevation here of like 4, 5, or 6 bricks with those modular buildings looking down into the canal would be super cool. So I'm going to start messing around with that stuff. You know what though? I think my train might need some new batteries. I actually haven't put new batteries in it since the old layout. So these batteries have been well used. Maybe just one more tick of power to get over the bridge. It's going at a fair pace now. And up and over. Around the S-curve. And back into the countryside. See you later. There we have it, everybody. Another LEGO City update. There's always something to do here in Brickmanton, isn't there? I'm always up for some good LEGO fun. That's for sure. That's so cool. I love the train bridge. It's beauty. That's really about it, everybody. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and we'll see you again soon. Farewell.